Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, this is the Weekly Pint. It's not a show, it's a happy hour. So hopefully everybody's got a beer in their hand, or if not, they're getting ready to get one, or if they're not, they have a beer in spirit, I guess. You're allowed to drink this, or watch this if you're not drinking, but I do recommend you watch this with a drink in hand because it's a happy hour. That's the whole point. It's an excuse for us all to hang out together, have a conversation, and imbibe in whatever you choose to imbibe in. With that being said, it's a conversation. It's like us sitting next to each other at a bar, or in a bar, like around a table. That's probably better. You can always take part in the conversation. There's multiple ways to do that. You can do it the more stressful way, which is where you call into the show. Numbers right here, 567-70 drink. You can call in. You can take part that way, or the part that is a little bit easier, a little less stressful. You can just jump on the chat and chat with each other that way. Let's see. Justin is engaged now. Oh, congratulations, Justin. Just kidding. She ate the ring. Now I'm confused. Okay. Let's see. Marco is having his truth and his to-go food as usual. Josh is drinking a Westside Single Hop Galaxy IPA, 7%, 60 IBUs. I have some of that sitting over on the shelf. I still have to take pictures of it before I'm allowed to drink it, but it's there. That's confusing. Julia is drinking a dark lager called Death by Nostalgia. Not Death by Nostalgia Brewing in Columbus. It's Death by Nostalgia from Nord Brewing. Justin says it was a gummy ring. All right, I don't think you can joke about engagements. Vernon is cleaning out the rest of his Sonder Oktoberfest. Found some leftovers. I have maybe 4 Oktoberfest beers left over from my Oktoberfest extravaganza, and one of them is a Sonder, and I am definitely excited to drink it, but I'm still kind of holding off on it because I really enjoyed that beer a lot this year. I had... and I won't name who it was. I did have one can of Oktoberfest that was stored refrigerated the whole time that the other day I threw it in a cooler to go, it was either the Super Bowl or the game before that. It doesn't matter. To watch football, I put it in a cooler, got it home, took it out of the cooler on ice, mind you. I was drying it off to put it in the fridge, and the lid popped up, and I'm like, oh, something's happening here. So I set it in the sink and then very carefully popped it open, and man, it went everywhere. I don't think I've ever had that with an Oktoberfest before, and I won't name who it was, but it was local. Let's see. Justin says I was at the Lucky Turtle. They got my head dizzy. I have not been to the Lucky Turtle in a long time. I tried to go to the Lucky Turtle a couple weeks ago. It was one of those nights where it snowed a whole bunch and everybody closed, including them, and they didn't let us know on social media, so I drove over there to go hang out at the Lucky Turtle in the snow, and they weren't there, so that was sad. Blake is drinking Perennial Artisan Ales Sump Coffee Stout. Sounds good. I'm going to crack into something a little seasonal. I freaking love this beer. This is 50 West's Maibach. So I don't think that this is the exact same recipe as their previous one, but it could be. Hellesbach Lager. It says this annual release is brewed in celebration of the coming of spring in Cincinnati's Bockfest. Maibach, or Hellesbach, is the paler, drier, and most quaffable version of the traditional Bock styles. German specialty malts provide a rich and textured malt flavor, while peppery hops provide balance. Expect a beer light in color with drinkability and a flavor reminiscent of a stronger Helles or Fest beer. It's amazing. It's delicious. I love the branding on this. It definitely takes a turn from all of the other stuff that we've been seeing from 50 West. It's a different series. This is their lager series, a little more traditional, but fantastic. And I am really, really excited to see what else they have in store for us. I think they said the next one is a Pilsner, and if you guys know me, yeah, sign me up for that. So I'm excited. Julia said, I didn't know 450 North made Oktoberfest. They're sort of local, right? No, it was not 450. It was local. And I haven't been over there since I had that experience to the brewery in question. But the next time I go, we're definitely going to have a conversation, because that is no bueno. All right. Like the can said, although it looks way redder on what you guys are seeing than what I'm seeing, because I'm looking into the light. It is definitely like a coppery, almost slightly orange color. Big fluffy head on it, man. I love this beer. And you get that that nice floral but spicy kind of hop aroma. Oh, man. Still drinkable. That's what I like about my Bock. It is, like I said, the lightest of the Bocks that you'll find, but it still has a big malt backbone to it. But it's light and crisp and drinkable, and yeah, I could knock out a ton of that. Justin says, my roommate gets full allotments. I'm surprised my garage hasn't blown up. The good news, I don't know if you guys saw, if you follow 450 North, or if you follow anybody that likes to share 450 North stuff, they did recently announce that their beers are now shelf stable. Who knew? It took that long to create a shelf stable beer, and they acted like it was something to be very proud of, that their beer is now shelf stable. For the record, there are a couple things that before you sell beer to people, you should make sure of. Number one, it should be safe to drink. It should not kill people. Number two, it should be shelf stable. It should not blow up on shelves or in people's hands or on their counters or in their fridge or wherever it may be. It shouldn't explode. I think those are like the top two that I think you should make sure of, followed by then that it should taste good. But good is relative, and I get that and I respect it. So, yeah, make sure it doesn't explode on you. It's called hype. Yeah, well, and hype is okay. I don't have a problem with a beer or a brewery being hyped. It's not a bad thing, but that hype should be backed up with something that is. It's even this saying should be backed up by something as worthy is not entirely a fair statement either. But I don't care if a brewery is hyped, but I do think that the product should be a good product. Good. It shouldn't kill people and it shouldn't blow up. Let's just leave it at that, you guys. I'm drinking a Bock because we are headed headfirst into Bock season. If you guys aren't aware, that is the tail end of winter, the beginning of spring. If you guys stepped outside at all today, you know we are just absolutely right there. We are headed right into spring. It was beautiful today. I think it hit like 65 degrees. I drove over to March 1st to get some work done, and smoked a cigar in the car on the way over with the windows down, and it was just phenomenal. It was everything I want out of this time of year. So I'm excited for the possibility that spring may be here. Knock on wood, because winter has a way of messing with us. I didn't pull labels today because literally just got the boy to sleep. As soon as he fell asleep, I popped up and took off running downstairs, and it was already 9 o'clock, so I just didn't have time. So I didn't pull labels, but that just means hopefully we'll have a few extra ones for next week, which will make it that much more exciting. I do want to talk a little bit about this week's brewcast, this brewcast that's up today, and then I also want to talk about next week's, which I'm always hesitant to talk about future brewcasts, because if you guys know anything about the way the show has gone a lot in the last year, sometimes things don't work out the way they're supposed to. But I do want to talk about what is planned, because it has a lot to do with Bock beer. However, it is fitting that my wife is on the stream right now, because I, for the second year in a row, well, more than the second, I think third year in a row technically. Sorry, Ollie doesn't sleep for me anymore, says my wife. Julia says, big gnome or littlest gnome? The littlest gnome. He's, so sorry, I'm reading everybody's chats. I don't get to go to Bockfest this year. I will not be anywhere near anything the entire weekend of Bockfest, because my wonderful wife is decided, she'll claim it wasn't her decision, to go out of town the weekend of Bockfest. I don't know why anybody schedules anything the weekend of Bockfest in the country. Everybody should be here. Bockfest is one of the two beer celebrations that the city does really well, and I don't get to go. So I am recording this week the only Bock show that I will be doing. We are celebrating with the Sausage Queen preliminary event over at Sonder, and I will be chatting a little bit about Sausage Queen and what that is, and how it kind of how it fits into the whole Bockfest festivities. And we'll talk about Bock beer, and I'll probably drink some Bock beer, and that's what you have to look forward to. I'm excited. I love Bockfest. I love good lager beer. I love good malty, hearty lager beer, and Bock is right there. I think and I talk about this a little bit every year with Oktoberfest too, that what I really am starting to enjoy about it is the wide breadth of different types of, in that case, Oktoberfest, in this case, Bock beer, that we can find around town. We have so many breweries now that everybody can kind of put their own spin on it. There's some that are super traditional, some that aren't. There's some that are on the lighter side. There's some that are on the darker side. There's some that fit right in the middle. There is just so much of a variety. Some people say that that's not good, because it should be this and that's all it should be. I love all of it. I can definitely pick favorites and say this is what I want to drink, but that doesn't mean everything else is not valid, because I really do enjoy it all. And much like Oktoberfest, we have the lighter styles, like this Maibach. We also have some of the darker, heavier ones that I'm sure we'll stumble across as the year goes on. The only box that I've had so far this year is this one from 50 West, and then I did try some William Goat from Sonder. Also a great beer, a little bit darker than this, but definitely kind of starting to lean into kind of the middle ground of Bock, I guess. Justin says, I missed the Bock season. Damn it, you're talking about brewing a Bock? Yeah, if you want to do it the right way, it needs to be ready to go already. If you want to do it the right way. And again, there is enough places in town that the faux box, I'm okay with it. I know I talked to Tony over at Dogberry this weekend, and he is going to crank out his Bock, but it will be an ale version of Bock. 77 Trans Am guy is brewing. Wants to know where we are located. This Bockfest sounds awesome. We are in Cincinnati, Ohio. The Bock beer capital of the world. There's not many places that I know of that do a Bockfest. I could Google it, I guess, but I won't. If somebody else wants to do a quick search and see if you can find anybody else that actually even does a Bockfest, let me know. But we do it. Justin says no quick box. Sorry, Dogberry. Again, I think that there's room for everything. I think that if you make a great beer that fits into the category, I'm okay with it. There's been some places that do that at Oktoberfest too. I'm okay with it. It's never going to be it's never going to make my pick as my favorite, I don't think. But there's room for everything. Cincinnati does, going back to Bockfest in Cincinnati, we do it bigger, definitely, than anybody else does Bock. Marco says huge in Canada? Maybe. We throw a big festival downtown Cincinnati. There's a big parade that kicks it all off, kind of Mardi Gras meets Oktoberfest. There are lots of goats, lots of people dressed as goats and monks and all kinds of strange things. It is something to see. It is so much fun. Joseph says, I'm really going to miss Emancipator on draft this year. That was my favorite. You might be able to find that on draft at the Lager House. I don't know for a fact, but Trans Am guy says, damn, I wish I was closer. I'm in Eastern Pennsylvania. Yeah, you could drive. It's worth it. Spend a weekend. It is the first weekend of March every single year. Put it on your calendar. Come visit Cincinnati and grab some Bock beer. I guarantee, I shouldn't say this, but I think I guarantee that there is not a single place on this planet that you will find this many Bock beers on tap at the same same time. At the Bockfest celebration, there is a tent that they set up that's the beer tent basically, and there's probably this year maybe 30 different Bock beers that are all on tap at the same time. Julia says, I wonder if the Newbert guys have any Bocks up north. There's got to be some, but the problem too, Justin says 20 beers on tap. That's good. There's got to be some Bocks, but there's also, the biggest Bock in the country probably is Shiner Bock, and that's kind of a shadow of what Bock can be. So just because they have Bocks doesn't mean that they're a good representation of what Bock can be. Marco says somebody on Facebook was worried about the lack of beer offerings at the Lager House. I saw that post. I don't know that it's a real concern that I'm worried about. I don't know. I haven't heard anything that would make me be concerned about the Lager House at this point. Somebody else followed it up with the speculation that it could just be because of how busy things have been in the last month or two with football and everything that happened with the Bengals and how they went to the Super Bowl and everything. They might have been a little busier than they anticipated, so the schedule might have gotten a little janky. They also, that's my guess, but don't know. Oh, Justin says I have no idea. I'm just guessing. Don't guess and say it like it's real. I think it's more than 20. Marco says, I'm not trying to bring validity to the comment. Just remember the comment was made. Yeah, I saw that. And it is something that is in the back of my head that I'm keeping an eye on. We'll put it that way. There's sometimes I'll catch little things like that online or in talking to somebody or something like that. And I don't know anything about it or any truth to it. And I'll poke in the places that need poked, and I'll peek in the places that need peeked, and just keep my eye on it, basically. Poking and peeking. That's what I spend most of my time doing. So that's this coming show. We'll dive a little deeper into Bock. We'll talk about Bockfest and what it is and why it is, and some of the fun things that happen around it. This is the second year that things are going to look a little bit different. Obviously, last year was really wacky because there was not an actual Bockfest because of COVID. Obviously, This year, there is a Bockfest, but it's all outside, as far as I can tell. I mean, I think there's going to be a tent, but I think everything else is outside, which could be great, could be terrible. That's one thing about Bockfest is that sometimes the weather sucks, and sometimes the weather is just amazing. It's how spring in Cincinnati goes. Excuse me. But it'll be fun. Justin wants to know if Hofbrauhaus is going to be releasing one. I don't think. I know that you're probably joking about that with the little kissy face. If anybody doesn't know my story of Hofbrauhaus, there's a long tail there. But I don't know if they do. To actually answer the question. Julia says, I heard the same thing. Wonder if we got it from the same place. Yeah, it was a Facebook post. Joe said, I saw a post about Bockfest Hall, but maybe that was just for the 5K Saturday morning. They are calling... So Bockfest Hall is kind of the center of the Bockfest universe. And when Bockfest started, or quickly after Bockfest started, it jumped around. So when Bockfest, and I'm probably jumping on some of the things that I'll talk about on this week's Brewcast, so forgive me for repeating things. But it was started as an event to help revitalize OTR. So Bockfest Hall jumped around to different locations within OTR. It was part of the whole point of the whole thing was that every year a different venue or different business would become Bockfest Hall for the year. Everybody would show up there, everybody would hang out there, and then there were still other events going on, but that became the hub and the center of Bockfest universe. Over time, that idea of revitalizing OTR wasn't as important because OTR revitalized itself, or it didn't do it itself, but was revitalized, I guess. It was not what it once was. And with that, Bockfest Hall settled into a permanent home at the Moorline Malt House, which was in OTR, which was a great venue. It was perfect for a German festival, German-ish festival like this. It made sense. And last year, obviously, Bockfest officially wasn't really happening the way it usually does. And then, obviously, at the end of the year, the malt house closed for business. So now Bockfest Hall was without a home again. And they decided to turn, I think, a park in OTR into Bockfest Hall. So Bockfest Hall is again roaming around. There's a part of me that thinks that would be fun to see what Bockfest Hall kind of jump around to different locations every year again. Another part of me likes having a place, especially a place inside that is big enough to house that many people and make a festival. Julia says, yes, Findlay Park. So that's Bockfest Hall. The park is Bockfest Hall. I think there'll be a big tent, probably a heated tent, just in case it's cold and rainy or snowy or something, which is likely. If you guys aren't familiar with some of the history of Bockfest, back in the early 2000s, one of the first years that I got to experience Bockfest in all its glory, there was a snowstorm, a horrible, horrible snowstorm that shut down the whole city. There was a level 3 snow emergency. This was one of the few times, including last year, the parade was canceled. We'll talk about that. This was one of the only other times that the parade was officially canceled because the city was shut down. You weren't supposed to leave your house. You were supposed to stay off the roads and whatnot. And everybody still showed up for the parade, even though there was no parade. People walked, and they walked down there and maybe might have been drinking in the streets and paraded down the street to kick off Bockfest in the middle of this massive snowstorm. Something similar happened last year where The parade was officially canceled because of COVID. They didn't want to have a parade, obviously, but people still showed up, and they still paraded down the street and kicked off Bockfest the way you're supposed to kick off Bockfest. Going back to the snowstorm, there is a unique tradition that kicks off Bockfest in Cincinnati, and that is the Precipitation Retaliation ceremony. This is where organizers build an effigy of a snowman, and everybody gathers, beer in hand, and they burn the effigy to ward off any bad weather that might come for Bockfest. So far, it's worked since then. There has not been a any kind of snowstorm like that since then. Julia says maybe they need to add a virus effigy to the snowman. I like that. He better be wearing some kind of a mask or something, just as some kind of homage to what happened last year, and hopefully to ward off any negativity from what COVID brought to Bockfest. And we'll talk probably all about all of this, I'm sure, on this week's show. So stay tuned for repeats. Sorry. It's the part of the downside of, just having me sitting here rambling, because I've been prepping for a show this week, so it's all just fresh in my head. Let's talk about this week's Brewcast. It was one of the few times where I just showed up somewhere and started recording. I call it the guerrilla style shows, or as I think I officially titled it on this one, sneaky style, which I kind of liked. I just walk in and set up microphones and start recording. And I think that there is some value to that, especially when you are talking with another person. It gives you kind of the ability, or kind of forces you to talk in a more open, honest, not honest isn't the right way to put it, a more open and maybe even critical light of some of the things that you are experiencing around that brewery. In this case, it was Listerman's Trail House, which I knew planning it and booking it. It was opening up a little bit of a can of worms to do a show like this, because I definitely have some criticisms of what that place is. Marco says, "Don't do that at the bank." Is that don't do sneaky style at the bank, or just show up and start recording? There's one place I have not recorded a podcast is a bank. I don't think that's actually not entirely true. Well, maybe it is. I don't know if I've recorded a podcast in Bad Tom's Madisonville location, which was a bank. If your building was a bank, isn't it always a bank? Kind of like, if you put a tap room into a church, it's still a church. It's just a repurposed church, right? I don't know. Once a warehouse, always a warehouse. If you put a brewery in a warehouse, it's still a warehouse. It's just got a brewery in it now. I don't know. So we did go to the Trail House. We sat down. We had some beers. The beers were all fantastic. You guys know Listerman. You know that they have all the ability in the world to crank out some great beer. I know that they have had some ups and downs with some quality stuff over the years. Right now being some oxygen issues on their canning line that they hopefully are fixed, as far as I know. They had to recall some stuff, but everything we tried was great, because it was all off draft. So all the beers were fantastic, including the pastry stout, which is a style that I don't typically lean into, but man, that Godspeed Little Doodle was great. And then We did not have a New England IPA, which was interesting. Again, for Listerman, but not crazy, and might be what I want out of the Trail House. I'm stepping on some of the stuff we talked about on this episode, but I really do want the Trail House to get its own identity to the level of even like I don't want to walk in expecting Listerman at all. I want it to have its own personality and its own thing, and it still sits right somewhere in the middle where it's the Listerman Trailhouse, and it looks and feels completely different than Listerman, but it still has the Listerman plastered on the building, and people, I think, are still, I don't know how many people are walking in expecting that. I would think where it's at, people are familiar with it. Julia says, do you get the impression that the current feel is the identity that they want for the space, or that it's still a work in progress? I think the look and the feel is exactly what they want it to be and exactly what it will be. It's nice. Like it's really, really nicely done. It's beautiful. I definitely think that identity as far as beer goes, I do think that they want to have a difference. I think that they want more of those lagers and those traditional styles to be at the Trail House, and the other stuff, the pastry stouts, the New Englands, all of that stuff to be happening down the street at the original tap room. It's not there yet, though, and I don't know if that's capacity, production issues, or just, again, that if I'm a Listerman fan and I see Listerman on the side of a pizza place and I walk in, I better be able to get a New England IPA, because that's what I know about Listerman. That's who they are to me. So I don't know. I don't know. I don't know what they're gonna. I don't know where they're gonna lean with it. I would like to see different branding, is what it comes down to. I would like to see just Trail House Brewing Company, and it can be Listerman. It can come out of Listerman, but just call it something else, so that people don't have that expectation when they walk in that they're going to get something that's Listerman. Or LBC Trail House Brewing, Listerman Brewing Company, something like that. I don't know. There's got to be a way to kind of to play that line a little bit more than what they are, in my opinion. Again, and I'm sure that there is definitely arguments to be made both ways on the topic. So I'm sure we'll talk about it the next time I talk to Listerman. I'm sure that they have plenty of thoughts on all of the things that we had to say about the Trail House. So that'll be interesting. Joe says they have really good pizza. We went a couple months ago. I still have not had the pizza. All we did was sit down and drink. And it was my first time actually sitting there and having a drink. So I didn't eat the pizza. I need to, though. I need to go there sometime and have some dinner. Maybe I'll take my wife and use it as a chance to say I'm sorry for all of the nights that I go hang out at places that serve great beer without you. Or I'm sorry for all of the fantastic beer that sometimes hangs out down here in the basement that I drink all of, and you don't ever know that it even came into the house. Like this one. I'm going to end up working my way through this 6-pack of Bock very quickly, and she'll have no idea it was ever here. Marco says she said you need to do better than that. Yeah, I'm sure she did. I'm going to take her out to dinner one of these days soon. The problem is the two small humans that live in my house make it very difficult to do anything. She did very kindly venture out this weekend with me and the kids to go to hang out at a brewery, and it was pretty stressful. That little one is the little one, as in the small person, is just absolute terror when you take him anywhere right now. Julia wants to know if I at least let her have some spotted cow. I did. I brought her one that night, and she had already gone to bed by the time I made it upstairs. Excuse me. So she didn't drink it that night, but she had the next day, and she said it was amazing. And once again, I drank all of the rest of it without her. There's none left. So good. I really do enjoy that beer a lot, and I'm reminded every time I get a hold of any of the New Glarus beers just how great they are. Again, going back to the conversation earlier about hype, they're definitely one of those breweries that has a bunch of hype behind them, but it's well deserved hype. There's a big difference. There's a big difference between hyping something that doesn't deserve it and hyping things to actually give them the recognition that they do deserve, I guess. Brad says, Moon Man. Is that a New Glarus beer? Because I don't think I've had it. I do have some beer to share back with Julia the next time that we get a chance to hang out. So we'll make up for it. Although it's coming from me, not my wife. I don't think I've ever had Moon Man. I could be wrong. It's really hard to remember. For as crappy as Untapped kind of gets represented sometimes, I really love being able to see what I've had. Brad says it's a no-coast pale ale. Yeah, I'm pretty sure that I've never had that. But I feel like you have told me about it before. Yes. Pale ale, 5%. Moon Man is a seriously cool cat. Always comfortable in his own skin. He never tries too hard. So cool, we named our no-coast pale ale after him. You hold a session beer with a bright, bold blend of 5 hops. I don't hold it. I'm reading it on Untapped, but I would love to hold it. With a blend of 5 hops that flirt oblingingly. That's tough. With a smooth malt backside. Don't let this one lay around as it's brewed to be enjoyed today. Bold and engaging without pretense, because in Wisconsin, you do not have to be extreme to be real. I like the branding. As far as the wording on it. I'm not a huge fan of New Glarus's actual branding on their cans. I think it's not great. I guess it's old school maybe. Brandy says, sounds like he'll share with you, to Julia. Joe says, do you have any leads on Bock and Distro besides 50 West? As of right now, the only ones that I have seen are 50 West and Sonder. I'm sure... Oh, let me pull up my list here of what... I should have a post of all of the Bock beers in Cincinnati, hopefully soon, since Bockfest is quickly approaching. But let me look at my list, and I can tell you which ones I think will end up in Distro. Moreline will probably have their new one out in Distro. There is a Barrel House collaboration, Braxton Barrel House. They did a collaboration with Cork and Bottle. That's called Baby Got Bock. That is at Cork and Bottle now. I'm curious. So Cartridge is doing a blonde box, so like a Maibach. They may have cans in their tap room, but that's not out in Distro. Grainworks has the Cincinnati Liars Lager. I did see that one on a shelf. So you should be able to snag some of that. And Northern Row, maybe we'll put their Hellerbach called Cooper. That may hit some cans too. That's not a for sure thing. And I would not be surprised if you saw Wooden Casks. Oh hell yes, or just hell yes, depending on what all they release this year. that probably will hit packaging. Julia wants to know if Westside has ever done a Bock. And I don't think so off the top of my head. Josh says Baby Got Bock feels like a super lazy commercial name. I'm assuming, so with the Barrel House, with this collaboration, this is with Cork and Bottle. I think that was somebody on Cork and Bottle's team that probably kind of spearheaded that. There's Bock. One thing about Bock is that I think some kind of cheesy kind of, I'm not going to call it lazy, but cheesy names like that are okay. I think that's part of the fun. Yes, Westside did a Bock last year, draft only. And my notes just say it's Westside Bock. It was just like a single normal Bock, just a small draft only batch to answer that question. However, I don't think I tried it. I don't think I got a chance to get a hold of it. That's also the difficulty of not going to Bockfest, is there's a lot you just don't get to try. It's also the most fun about Bockfest, because very different than Oktoberfest. Oktoberfest, you have to hunt down to get your hands on the majority of the Oktoberfest beers that are released around town. Bockfest, almost everybody, and I know not everybody does, but almost everybody sends their Bock beer to Bockfest. You can go there and get almost everything all on the same day, and they sell like a little ticket package to get samples of everything, and that's half the fun of it, is just getting to try them all at the same time. I wish there was an Oktoberfest celebration that was a little bit more like that. It's even hard if you go down to Oktoberfest Cincinnati to find all of the local beers as you're walking around, and at that, you don't necessarily need a pint, or if you're doing it the right way, a liter of all of them. That's a bad idea. Bock beer is not necessarily drank in the large vessels the same way that Oktoberfest is. So it's okay to go and get like a little flight of everything. It just seems okay. Marco says, "Don't at me. I'm okay with not having Bock beer. I don't hate it, but I don't need it." Well, you, sir, would be wrong. This is fantastic. And I don't know how anybody who is a fan of beer cannot absolutely love something like this. It is a thing of beauty. Joe says, "Aren't you an event planner now? Make your own Oktoberfest festival." Yeah, I mean, that would be fun. There is no way that I could spearhead something like that right now. I can't even get an episode of Prost out for you guys right now. My schedule is so stupid. The amount of work that goes into to doing any kind of festival is absolutely insane. And as much as I enjoy helping to make beer, booze, and bonks happen, I cannot do something like that. It would be fun though. Maybe one of these days I could put together an event that's not a festival. Brad says, "You need to try the fire iron in the Bock." Oh, that's brilliant. Yes. I don't think it would be as good with this one, though. I want like a dark Bock. Margo says, "If I have a Bock, I can appreciate it, but I don't need it." Well, I mean, we don't need any of these things that we're running around chasing and drinking, do we? I will. Yes, this week there will be a fire iron in a Bock. I promise that. We'll figure something out. I actually have a fun idea, but it has to do with somebody else's thing, and I don't want I don't want to promise anything because maybe I'll tweet about it later. Just pay attention this week. If we'll do something. I have a good idea. But yes, there will be fire irons in Bock beer very soon. I don't know why I haven't thought of that yet. And as of right now, the only box that I don't think I have. No, I don't have any of William Goat. Julia says, tell Marco and I about it tomorrow. Yeah, I'll tell you guys. I'll tell you guys my plan. If you, anybody that, yeah, you guys will know about it. This is gonna be fun. We do need to start wrapping this up because it's starting to get later. We're at 47 minutes, and I'm tired. And I have another big day tomorrow, and another big week. There's a bunch of fun stuff coming up. Not necessarily stuff that you guys ever get to see. It's more Gnome Creative stuff, and cranking along at that. Gnome Creative, if you guys don't know about it, is my business that now is everything. I quit my day job, and my photography / content creation business now supports all of this, which is terrifying, but is getting there. Julia says, glad to hear Gnome Creative is keeping you busy. It's keeping me busy. It doesn't mean it's generating the money. Which, for anybody who is listening, if you need any creative services, be it photography or video work or audio content creation, any of that stuff, feel free to hit me up, and I will be more than happy to help you. Otherwise, just keep supporting this show the way you guys do. Keep sharing it with your friends. If you really want to help out and toss a couple bucks, you can always go to thegnarlygnome.com/support and send a couple bucks every month that way. That helps a lot. I did put a bunch of work in today on the new store. Let me pull that up for you real quick so you can see. Julia says, I need a banner for the Truth Beer Consequences YouTube page. If it's something you could help with, I could definitely help with that. That's easy stuff. Let me pull this up here. If I can think of an easy way to do it. I mean, the store, it's new, but it looks exactly the same. Just new products and some new back-end things that just make it work differently for me. Maybe in a good way, maybe not. Maybe it's actually kind of extra work on me. But so all of the products will now have fun little pictures on them. So there's one of the hats, the Be Gnarly hat, which is my favorite. And then we finally got glassware up on the website, so you can order your Be Gnarly Drink Local glass. So it's coming. It's a lot of work trying to figure out goofy little things like shipping, and I've been debating actually just removing shipping as an option, and just making it all local pickup only. I have had some people that live outside of Cincinnati order things. There's been very strange people that order T-shirts and stuff that I don't know who they were. I don't know how they heard of the Gnarly Gnome or why they care about the Gnarly Gnome, because they live in these weird spots. But so I don't really want to remove shipping as an option, but it may make more sense to do that. I don't know. Still trying to figure out stuff like that, and obviously the logistics of shipping is a pain. I need to well, if I was moving way more of a volume than I do, it might not be as difficult. But that's neither here nor there. It's coming, guys. I'm working on stuff, and then there is new merch coming too. There's some new T-shirts. A couple new hats that I've been working on. I like hats a lot more because they're way easier to keep in stock because they're one size fits all. T-shirts, I have behind this wall here is like a closet that is filled with these big, giant Rubbermaid tubs just full of T-shirts because of different sizes. I hate trying to keep T-shirts in stock because of that. Julia says maybe do a reach out via email, social media for non-pickup options kind of thing. Maybe, but then that still means every time an order comes in, then I have to get in touch with that person. We have to actually connect, and sometimes that's very difficult for people to manage. I'm trying to keep things as automated as possible for people so that it just kind of happens, and I don't have to chase people down as much. That's the goal, at least. Anyways, none of that is that important right now. Just know that it is coming. Know that I'm working on some fun stuff that you guys will all enjoy. And thank you so much for the support that you do give to all of this stuff. And I promise that I'm working on finding ways to not only get back up to the amount of content that I want to be coming out, but to make better content and more of it. Prost is coming back. It's ridiculous the reason that there hasn't been a Prost, which I know I'm not really calling Prost anymore, but so it used to be that on Wednesdays and Fridays, my kids would spend the day with one of their grandmas. I got home from work around 4 or so, and then the kids didn't get home until around 6. So I had like almost 2 full hours without kids to clean the house, to get dishes done, and to record episodes of Prost. That was when I did it. That window is just gone now. When I'm home, the kids are home. So I'm running around taking care of kids and doing the whole dad thing. The house is not quiet when the kids are home at all. Like they run around just above where I'm trying to record, which when I'm recording like this usually kind of blocks out most of that outside noise. When you're doing a video like that, unless you want a microphone in my face like this while I'm doing the episodes, you're gonna hear a bunch of kids running around. So that's the biggest reason that there hasn't been one. It's been chaos, but it's coming. I'm working out some ways to make it happen, and some places in the schedule to do it. Even if I have to start recording at 10:30 at night, I will make it happen. I promise, guys. And I appreciate it. I appreciate you hanging in there through all of this. Thank you very much. And we will, like I said, be back next week talking Bock beer and Sausage Queen. So stick around for that. If you don't subscribe to Cincy Brewcast, do that because that's where all of those new podcast episodes go, is podcast world. Subscribe wherever you get your podcasts. Thank you, guys. We'll be back next week, same time, same place. Cheers, everybody. Also, spoiler alert, I'm going to be recording an episode of Sonder Stories this week, and maybe, just maybe, I'll bring the fire poker to Sonder Stories Studios, Sonder Studios. Maybe. I haven't run this by them yet, so we'll see.